Welcome back everyone to the channel, and today I want to talk about two subjects that I think are rather important. Now the first subject is carrying on from yesterday, where we covered that the Reform UK's membership numbers had surpassed that of the Conservatives, and Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the Conservatives, has made some really wild accusations suggesting that these numbers are made up. And I want to talk about the response by Nigel Farage on what he could potentially do now, and why I think this has been a disastrous advice and mistake by Kemi Badenoch. And the second subject I want to talk about is, again, Nigel Farage's scathing attack on Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, over the cancellation of local elections coming up this May, and why the areas that look like they're going to be cancelled was projected to win a lot of seats for the Reform Party. But before I do, can I please ask you to like, share, and subscribe? We've been going around 6 months now, and we've already closing in on 2,000 members. I want to thank everybody who's subscribed. But if we can get more subscribers, we can get these videos out to more and more people, which gives a different version of the news that you'll see through the mainstream media. So going on to the first subject and why it's important is because it really shows a lack of advice the Conservative Party have. So just to remind everyone, the Reform UK Party, which only really came into the limelight about 6 weeks before the general election, in which Nigel Farage took back over as leader. So by starting at a standing start, it has now got, as of today, 141,000 members. Now it showed this by having an online counter. Every time you refreshed it, the numbers went up for people who had subscribed. Now the Conservative Party, who have around 131,000 members at the last leadership contest a few months ago, have now been surpassed by around 10,000. So the Reform UK Party, a little bit cheeky, a little bit tongue in the cheek, they used 131,000 as the marker. When they surpassed that number, they celebrated that the newest party in UK politics had took over the oldest party in the Conservatives. Now, Kemi Badenoch should have just kept quiet about this, especially seeing that membership numbers don't mean everything. Ask Jeremy Corbyn. He had over 600,000 members and lost 2 general elections. But obviously, it's not a bad thing for Reform UK, but it's not good enough for him, where Kemi had to even address this. But she did. And what did she say? As we showed on yesterday's video and what's going around the media at the moment, Kemi Badenoch has suggested or outright stated that these numbers are fake, and Nigel Farage knows nothing about the digital world. Well, Kemi Badenoch, the first big mistake she's done is acknowledging the Reform Party. The second mistake is coming out with a ludicrous comment like that Nigel Farage doesn't understand the digital world. Farage understands the digital world and social media better than any other politician. That's why he has over 1 million followers on TikTok. That's why they're the second most popular party amongst 18 to 24-year-olds, while the Conservative Party's numbers in them geographics are falling and falling. But Kemi Badenoch made one other mistake. She said in a statement that they had been looking at the online counter at the end of every day, and she noticed that it didn't add up, suggesting that it was being manually done or they was using some other website's numbers. But by doing that, Kemi showed that instead of running the official opposition, instead of looking how she could take over and be the next Prime Minister, instead she was spending her nights watching Nigel Farage's Reform UK Party and its membership numbers. And somehow she was advised to come out and attack something that I guarantee will turn out to be absolutely legit. There is no way the Reform UK Party was making the numbers up when they surpassed 131,000. And even if they did, it would have only been a matter of days on the current trend that they're on before they would have passed the Conservative numbers anyway. So Kemi had absolutely nothing to win by making this ludicrous statement. But now it's going to get proven to be real, because Nigel Farage has made the offer to the Conservative Party and made it big news now to come and audit the members. Kemi won't do that, and if she does that, she will see the Farage is telling the truth. Nigel Farage has also stated that he will let the UK know in the next 2 days what he's going to do about this because he has been accused of fraud. We may see, because of the political setup of the Reform Party, and in my opinion, why it's set up as a non-profit limited company, because it will now is able to sue people who make slanderous statements. Can you imagine if the leader of the Conservatives now gets illegal letters from Nigel Farage's Reform Party and she has to respond by apologising? That certainly will be the end of Kemi Badenoch. And I don't even mind Kemi Badenoch. I think there are far worse in the Conservative Party. But the writing is on the wall. And for me, it's more obvious than ever that Nigel Farage, already owning the scalp of two prime ministers, is going to finish off a third leader and maybe the Conservative Party for good. Now, the second topic is in relation to Keir Starmer, recent news that he's looking to cancel this May's local elections. Now, Starmer is suggesting the reason he's doing this is because he's going to merge some of these councils under Greater Manchester. That's what I'm going to make reference to in a second. Elected mayors like we have in Greater Manchester, London, and like we have in Liverpool and Birmingham. Now, in Greater Manchester, where I'm an independent councillor under the Wigan Council, it doesn't make a lot of sense what he's saying because the councils still exist. The difference is that it comes under the authority of the Greater Manchester Mayor. So it's not clear if one, Starmer is outright lying by saying they're going to merge together and they won't have power and it will go to the elected mayor, or if two, Starmer is actually going to do a massive shake-up and end these councils in 2 years. Now, Starmer claims because of these changes, which in my opinion don't warrant cancelling an election, because we've seen recently with the all-out local elections, some councillors came in third place, won 1 year, and had to re-stand anyway. So the idea that you can't have a local election because the same councillors will be up in 2 years under maybe different wards or boundaries is absolutely ludicrous. But when we look at where Starmer is cancelling these elections and what Nigel Farage is pointing out is Kent, Essex, Lancashire, Hertfordshire and Sussex. Now, especially when we look at Kent, Essex and Lancashire being up here in what they call the so-called Red Wall, and Kent and Essex, Reform UK are looking to absolutely smash Labour and the Conservatives to pieces in them areas. So the suggestion that Farage is saying is that Starmer is like a third world dictator, cancel elections because he's not going to do well. Farage said cancelling the elections in areas where reform are gaining momentum is an act of a desperate government. They have the audacity to call us a threat to democracy while acting like a third world dictator. And everybody's favourite MP, Lee Anderson, said, when they can't beat you at the ballot box, they take the ballot box away. Now, these are good points being made because we keep hearing off the Labour Party and Conservatives that somehow the Reform Party are a threat to democracy, which makes no sense whatsoever because the only way the Reform Party can do well is at the ballot box, which is the very definition of democracy. But let me know what you think. Do you think Keir Starmer is cancelling the election in these areas without any previous plans to put elected mayors in? Do you think that he's only looking at doing it to cancel the elections? Or do you agree with him? Do you believe that he is going to do this, some form of greater elected mayor setup, and that there is no point in the local elections? And just to end with one thing regarding these elected mayors. Now, we're told that it's devolution. You're taking power from government and bringing it down to local level. Well, that is the biggest lie ever told in politics. The electing mayors is an old plan from the EU where it wants to split the United Kingdom up into states so it's easier to control what happens. So rather than having thousands of little councils all over the country, what you do instead, you merge them, or you take a leader from every one of them who sits under an elected mayor of the city to form a new cabinet that makes the decision for up to 10, 15 councils. Now, the way the government tell you is government power goes to the elected mayors. It's the very opposite. Power from the councils gets took away. So take a look at Wigan, for instance. We have 330,000 residents represented by 75 councillors. When we merged with Greater Manchester, you then had 3.5 million dictated by one elected mayor, Andy Burnham. So it is the complete opposite of devolution. It is actually a dictatorship, which fits in very well with what Keir Starmer's doing. But I have no doubt whatsoever that these local elections should and could carry on. And if things have to change in 2 years, you have the local elections again, which has always been done. Keir Starmer is only kicking the can down the road. At some point, Nigel Farage and the Reform Party are coming for the Labour Party. Hopefully it's this May, but if not, how much longer will Starmer get away with doing this? One final point. If these MERS are only going to be formed in 2 years, is Starmer planning on cancelling the next 2 years' local elections? Because that will be something we haven't seen since the World War. Let me know your thoughts, and thank you all for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.